There we go. I think it's working now, right? Hello. Okay, so I think the plan today is to kind of take a look at the new simulation nodes in the experimental build of 3.5. I haven't taken a look at it yet, so this will be a kind of a completely fresh look for me too. I have seen some stuff on Twitter, kind of how it works and all that. So that will be fun. If there are any audio issues or anything like that, if the music is too loud or I'm too low or too loud or anything, just let me know. It's been a while since I streamed. So I haven't, like I said, I haven't tried out the nodes yet, even taking a real look at them. But I know one thing that I would like to try to do, and that is a curl noise simulation, which is essentially kind of what I tried to simulate with the curling curves video way back. So that wasn't actual curl noise. This will be like the proper way, I guess, because I know you can do it, and I think I can figure out how. That's the plan, at least. Low bender cube. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun. I think I'll use a plane to start with, just because. Greetings. This will be the ultimate going in blind stream, because I don't know what to expect. But I think I have a pretty good idea of how it works from what I've seen. And it's essentially you have these simulation input and simulation output, and anything you do in between these two gets repeated every frame, or gets applied every frame, I should say. It doesn't get really repeated. Or I guess you could say it gets repeated, because it's doing the same thing over and over. So it's essentially like a for loop, or a for each loop, or a for loop, or a for node, or something like that. But apparently you need to play the animation or play the timeline for it to actually apply every frame. So it's not really a for loop. So we'll see. I think I will be able to figure it out. Hey AK, what's up? So yeah. There's a run thing here. Guess this just tells it if it should run or not. Oh, it can cache stuff. Huh. I don't want to get into that. Sounds too advanced. Yeah, I see some crazy stuff being made from people much more competent in the simulation nodes than me. It's really interesting, to be honest. But let's start simple. That's the way to do it. So, like I said, the way I understand it is that everything that happens in between these two nodes in this kind of this frame gets applied every frame. So if we do something simple to the plane here, Maybe like a set position node or something. Just offset. When are they releasing this? I don't know. It's still in the experimental branch, so it's not part of the pipeline to be released at any time soon, I think. So the people who are working on this branch, as far as I know, are basically just experimenting and trying out things to see if it works. And if they reach like a, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I think there needs to be like a consensus from the rest of the community that okay, this is ready to be pushed into the main branch, and I don't think it's there in a while. But for now, you can just do the 3.5 experimental version. I've linked it in the description, I think. So you should, if you want to try it out, you can just get the, just click the link and you will be able to download it. It's a version that I have. How is the quality, by the way? Okay. Quality is kind of low, isn't it? Oh, never mind. Okay. Okay, sweet, awesome. Okay, so my thought is like if I do it to something simple, it should be able to just, you know, repeat. So if I have this, oh, it works. Cool. Okay. Maybe that's too much. So here I'm just doing adding. Offsetting it by 0.01 every frame. Can it calculate all the way to the end? No, it can't. Okay, that's a shame. Because that would be really cool if you could just go to the end of the timeline right away and get the entire simulation, but that's not how it works. Okay, sweet. Okay, so doing the curl noise thing I was talking about is pretty simple then, I think. So you would use this, because the way you would do it, like without simulation, would be to essentially take like take points, then you add some noise to those points, and then you take those, like you add a new point at the offset position, the distorted position, and then you take that point and add noise to that based on that position, and so on. So you kind of use the new position as the vector position for the noise texture, which results in these really cool like swirls and more of a you kind of see the field, the noise field, instead of just the noise, which is really cool. So how do we do this? Okay, so we need a noise texture. That's number one. And we need something to apply the noise to. So I'm thinking maybe, okay, let's distribute some points first. Because I need more. I'm gonna need more than one. Otherwise, it doesn't look cool. Points on faces. Let's crash. Nope. Cool. Some points. And then we need some curves. And curves are the way. Yeah, because if I use curves, I was first thinking about using like mesh lines. But if I use the curve, then I can Okay, this is okay. I think I get an idea now. Because if you use the curve, you have access to something called the endpoint position node, which is really awesome. Because that lets you select any amount of points on the curve or exclude any amount of points on the curve. You'll see what I mean. I'll show you in a minute. So let's instance these. Here we go. And I think we should realize them also, because we're gonna need each point, the curve separately. And we should also resample the curve, because now it's just 2 points and that's not really interesting. I'm trying to make the curl noise flow, essentially, with the nodes. So this is like an exploration stream. This is the first time I'm doing anything with the simulation nodes. I've only seen some stuff on Twitter, and the only thing I really know is that this and this, anything between those nodes is essentially repeated. I'm sure someone has already done this, but this is just for me and for you, I guess, if you wanna just hang out and watch. Okay, so we have curves. They resample to 32 points per curve. We have them there. They're realized, which means that each point on the curve is handled as a separate thing instead of the instances. Okay, so the one thing I know about, or one of the things I know about curl noise, is that you need to start from the same point. So you basically like iterate between the points and then apply some displacement on it, basically, from the noise texture. So let's set all the positions. No, we don't need to do this. Let's just set the offset of the curve line to 0. Like that. So they're all placed in the essentially where they're spawned at the points. And then we do this offset. And we do the usual thing where we subtract 0.5 to normalize it, or not normalize it, but make it non-biased towards any positives. One of those standard things. I usually do it with a map range node because you get more control immediately. You don't need to use the scale node or anything, but this works fine. Maybe we should add one of those just in case. Because if we do this, we first take the noise and then we map it from, or not map it, yes, we map it from 0 to 1 to negative 0.5 and positive 0.5 instead. So we get an even spread. Then with this, we can just essentially bring down or increase the influence of the noise when we offset it. So right now it shouldn't be anything different, because it's applying the same noise to all the points. And that's my thinking, because if we have the endpoint selection node, right? Since these are curves, we can use this to kind of pick an amount of points from the start or from the end. And what we should do is... what would be the best way to do it? Because essentially what we want to do is, on the first step, because we don't want to move the first point, because that's going to stay where it spawned. So we want to take all the points with an index above 0, because the first point is 0. So we want to take those points and apply the same displacement. And then next time we want to exclude the first 2 points. So the first point that we excluded from the beginning, and also the point with index 1. So 0 and 1 index are excluded and everything else gets displaced again. Yeah. Because that way we get kind of a... We move all the points and then we like stick 1 point. We stick 1 point with a needle or something, like with one of those things you hang up on the cardboard walls or stuff. So you pin those, and then you take the rest of the points, move them again. We pin 1, then we move them again. And that should be essentially the same as the regular. Yeah, that should work. I think. We'll try it. So what do? We do... Use that as a selection. Wonder why this isn't included in the frame. Does that mean it doesn't work? Or is it just geometry that's inside? Maybe it is. Well, we'll see. So we want this. And then we should... Yeah, okay. So we can do this. We can take... This selects the first point. And we can basically reverse the selection, or invert the selection with Boolean math. Set to not. So instead of selecting the first point, we're selecting all the points except for the first point with this. This isn't in here either. And that way we should get... After 1 frame... Let's play it out, see what happens. Okay, we have something. Okay, so they are moving, and the first point is staying where it should, which is nice. So what we do... Okay, so what we need to do now is make some logic that... Oh, I know. Because what we need... Okay. What we need to do is we need to make some sort of logic that for each frame we exclude the next point, and then we exclude the next point, and then we exclude the next point. And since it starts at 1, we could use a scene time node, because that's the frame would be the same thing, I guess. So the frame starts at 1, because I've set it to 1 here. Yeah, so on frame 2 it should be frame point 1 and 2, and frame 3 point 1, 2, and 3. Because we're not using the index here. I just realized we're using the start size, which isn't index dependent. Well, I guess it is. The end size is, I guess. Because the end size will be like... No, it's not. Never mind. Never mind, because it starts basically... It lists them from the end and back instead. So it's the opposite of this. So it shouldn't... It's not index dependent. My bad. Okay. I guess this should be it. Hey, look at that. We have something. Wow, that looks so cool. That's awesome. But I think the scale is too high. 2? Oh yeah, okay. Here now we're starting to see the those swirls I was talking about, which is what you get when you, because these are essentially following like the noise fields instead of just the noise at every point. So they're kind of flowing with the noise, which gives these really cool spirals, and I think they're called sinks. I'm not entirely sure. I think I've heard that word being thrown around with Curl Noise. Maybe 1.5. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we need more points. Oh yeah, oh my god, look at that, that's so cool. think we need more. Let's 100 maybe. Yeah, awesome. I can't believe it worked. This is all it is. Okay, cool. I don't know what it is about this curl noise thing. I just think it looks so fucking cool. It's like blows my mind every time. Okay, let's increase the resample count because I think, yeah, I think the way it works is that this should probably, let me see. Is there any difference? Yes, let's use this one as the reference. Yeah, it stretches a bit longer. So I guess the spread or how far it can go is dependent on the resampling. And yeah, you can also see pretty fast how there are these like sinks. I think they're called sinks, like these ones, like this little one here, where they just converge, and from there's no point they can travel, because it has essentially reached a 0 point, I guess, where the value is 0, so there's no more displacement or anything. So the fields are kind of going into these spiraling sinks. Oh, this was a cool shape. Okay, so we don't need to overdo it then. I guess maybe... Well, 128 is fine, I guess. Okay, nice. Basin of attraction. That's a good word. Maybe that's what it's called. I've just heard like I think I've heard sink, but basin of attraction sounds like sounds much more believable. Whatever they're called, they're pretty awesome, I think. Let's increase this even more. I want to see what happens if you really thicken it up. Yeah, you can see even if you increase, they all go to these. Wait, maybe I'm not. I'm actually adding more. I'm not seeing anymore. 50, 500. An old term. Interesting. Oh, even on the first frame you can see the how the field is like distributed along the plane. Pretty cool. And just to show what happens if you don't use this subtract, it will all go this way instead, which isn't very interesting. I mean, you want to do a space laser maybe? So yeah, they all go to the positive in X, Y, and Z. So that's where you do that. And with the scale you can, like I said, increase or decrease the influence. So I set it to 0.1, so it basically multiplies all the... It's essentially doing this. Takes the vector and then multiply by 0.1. Then use that. But instead of having 3 fields, you just have one, which just scales everything. Which is much more convenient. And of course you can do the opposite. Decrease it. Get these really intense. Kind of hard to say, almost too many. Maybe I should decrease this one if I'm using a bigger scale. Yeah, super cool, I think. And yeah, the kind of the look you get from depends pretty much on the noise texture settings as well. So I'm gonna use I think 2 is probably good. Just use these. Maybe even 2 is too much. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, something like that. Maybe 1.75. Round in motion, random walk. Yeah, I see what you mean. But they all follow like they all follow the field, the noise field, which is giving these convergent paths, essentially. Looks kinda, I don't know what it reminds me of. Like Tim Burton-esque. Nightmare Before Christmas aesthetic. Yeah, of course, if you want some other cool noise or change the noise, you can just use the W slider. Get a completely different setup. Wonder what happens if you change this as it goes. Oh yeah, okay. New knowledge unlocked. Apparently the fields can be changed during the simulation. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty OP. I think this is too many points for all that chaos. That's too fast still. 0.1. Just want to add a little bit of randomness. Yeah, like this. Yeah, because when you do use this W slider, it's essentially, if you use the vector input, you can move the noise, your position in the noise on the X, Y, and Z axis. But on the W, you can move it through the 4th dimension, which you can't really visualize since it's 3D. But it's essentially moving. Yeah, I think like the best way to describe it is like it's moving in a dimension beyond the X, Y, and Z. To kind of transform the noise in different ways. So instead of moving it like we usually see it, like up and down or left and right and so forth, it's moving it through a different direction, which is almost impossible to visualize. So to us, it just looks like the noise is kind of changing. But yeah, something like that. So when we have this, if anyone's interested, here's the notes. Are the notes, not is. Just bring it a bit closer. Take a screenshot or whatever. You want to replicate it. This one, these two can be ignored if you don't want the extra chaos. And the build for this one is in the description. It's a 3.5 experimental geometry nodes simulation branch. It's not available as an official release anymore for some reason, or official like in the active or current branches. So you need to go to the archive and download the build from November 24th, I think. I have a direct link to it in the description, so just go there if you want to use it. But yeah, once we have that, we can turn this into a mesh. So curve to mesh. And curve circle. Now I think this is 128,000 vertices. So let's keep this very low res. Maybe even 3. To not fry my computer. And then we set the radius to something smaller. Like so. I'm thinking let's add some like variable thickness. So it goes from thin to thick to thin or something like that. Just use set radius. Ooh, cool look. Oh, this is really cool. It looks super abstract when you have it this thin. But yeah, let's do the thing I was talking about. So this is also one of those standard things. What's spline length? You take a spline parameter and a float curve node. Like so. Factor into value, value into radius. Then you get this. So it goes from thin to thick according to this curve. So what you usually do is you take this, you set it to 1 on y and 0.5 on x. 0.5 on x and 1 on y, like so, and then you take this one and just drag it down. So you get this thin, thick, thin. And yeah, this one has a really Lovecraftian look at this point, like an Eldritch Horror or something. And then you take a math, multiply 0.1 or something like that. This can be adjusted, so if you take like this and then you drag these in, you get like a really thick middle, and the rest is really thin. I think I just keep it as it was. Oh yeah, it's really heavy on the when you run it. So maybe run it without the curve or without the mesh. You can just add it afterwards. Cool. What can we do more? Hey, what's up, Luz? Good to know. What else can we do? Oh yeah, we can make these much smoother because they're really jagged at this point. So first I will set spline type. This is also one of those standard things if you want to smooth out a curve. I set it to Bezier. Then you take set handle type and just use the default auto. And then you get these really smooth curves. But the downside is that every single intermediate point between the actual control points are treated as actual points when you convert it to a mesh. So as you can see here, there are a lot of every single one of these triangles is essentially a point, a curve point. And if we remove this, this is what the curve is actually looking like. So it's much more spread out. It's not as dense. So what we can do about that is once we do the Bezier auto thing, we can resample it again. Because once we do this Bezier thing, we get like the shape we want, but it's way too dense. So we can always decrease it with this. So I'm just gonna disable this one. Then you can just like by just looking, adjust the count. So I'm thinking maybe 128. What was it before? It actually... Okay, so 64 maybe, like make it half. Maybe not. I was hoping that would give a better look. That's a shame. But we can decrease it a little bit at least. Damn shame, I really wanted that to work. But it's giving the exact same amount of points. Too bad. I guess maybe we could resample it afterwards. Or before, I mean. Let's do that. Okay, how much are we ending up with? 116. Okay, so this works kind of well. You lose a bit of the detail, but you can resample it to like 64 maybe. Keep most of it. Then it should look fine. Because I'm looking here at the amount of control points. That's why the spreadsheet is so good. Because here you have the control points after the Bezier handle type thing. But if we resample it before, after the Bezier handle type thing, we get 64,000 instead of 128. So we halved it. So that's a nice workaround. Is the stream going to be saved? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll set it to autosave, so it should be available as soon as the stream is over. Okay, sweet. So this will be the kernel's setup. I'm just gonna save it and fake user, just in case I delete the object, it's still there. Okay, so this is the simulation notes. And these are the mesh nodes, essentially. Just a very simple curve to mesh operation. Very, very standard practice. One of those things that you do a lot if you're working with geometry nodes. Super easy, and you can control the thickness with this one, the overall thickness also. You have this to control it, but you don't have also this, because this affects also how thick it is. So if you set this to 1, for example, you get this. And I'm also surprised at how smooth it looks, even with just a triangle instead of a real circle as the profile curve. I guess because it's so dense, you don't really notice it. Nope, never heard of him. I'm really digging these. Thinking we should probably what does it look like if we shade it flat? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it looks much better when it's using flat shading. Like all of these intersections here looks pretty like awesome. Almost like different lanes or something. Super cool stuff. But what else can we do? Oh yeah, we can do the thing I tried to do with the curling curves stuff. Because what we're doing now is like we're adding just points on the face. But we might as well just add points inside a mesh, which I did with the in the curling curves video. And I think the change is pretty simple. Hey, what's up? We're doing some curl noise simulations. So we made this setup, which generates this cool curl noise shape. Oh, I just noticed it stops at 128 because that's a count. So after that, it doesn't have anything else to work with, because at that point, this start size is above 128, which means that every single point is excluded from the simulation. So once we hit that point, the resources needed to play the timeline is almost down to like just a static mesh. So once we have played it and stopped animation, we just enable the curved mesh and we get this cool little thing. But yeah, I was thinking, let's copy this and make this curl noise volume. Because I think it should just be a matter of changing up this, because right now it's just adding points on a plane. So what we're going to do instead is to replace this one. And let's also replace the mesh, I guess. I'm just gonna disable the curved mesh because that's really heavy. So let's replace this with Suzanne. The old friend Suzanne. Like so. And instead of doing it on the faces, we want to do it inside. So we replace this, because I know there's some point volume node. Yeah, this one. Distribute points in volume. So just take that and plug that into the points. Hit the simulation. This is saying unsupported type mesh. Is there a point? Mesh to volume. That was easy. And then, yeah, we don't need the original mesh anyway, so we don't need to join anything. So let's put this to something high. Does this affect anything? Oh, it does. Okay. Maybe let's keep this low and increase this one. Is that the way? 250. What does this do? Okay, let's not mess with that one. Maybe 32 is fine. So I just want to make sure that the actual shape of Suzanne is left as it is. This seems to be a good number for it. Pretty thin distribution inside though. Feels like most of the points are like on the outside. And yeah, I noticed that every time I change something, I need to like update the timeline. Make the change propagate. Not sure if that's not sure if that's intended. Just a bit annoying. But it's fine. It's fine. It's experimental. It's fine. No, for real though, this is this is super cool. I mean, the fact that we have this kind of thing available at all already, like Geometry Note has been out for what like a year and a half or something, and since like I would say 3.1 or maybe 3.2, the development on Geometry Note has been insane. It's just been non-stop. It's almost impossible to keep up anymore. But this was like one of those significant things if you want to do really cool stuff that looks good. It helps. Okay, that's awesome. Because that's usually what happens. I don't speak to myself when I work, but that's basically the thought process when I'm working. I'm like, okay, how can I do this? What is this? What nodes do I have available that can support this thing? Like, for example, this said unsupported mesh. Like, okay. So I need a volume instead of a mesh. How can I get a volume from a mesh? Okay, mesh to volume. So it's about, you know, trying to think step by step and also looking at what nodes are there. So correctly, you have to restart the timeline because the information are kind of baked in the for loop. Yeah, I guess that's basically it. They have a use cache, but I don't think it works. Or I'm not sure. Maybe it does. Let's see if I update something here. Okay, so if you use this, if you enable this, then it saves whatever you're doing, I guess. So that makes me a bit sad that, or maybe not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it seems a bit tricky to make it update correctly when you're not running it, when you do make changes. Can I add this curl noise volume object into the wireframe monkey? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's see what happens when you play it, because I think this should be all we need to make the look. Oh, that's such a cool effect. Did you see that? The way they wiggle and stuff? That's the resampling. You can see it like on this one here. And this one and this one. Because that's a resampling, and then we do this. So it's constantly trying to... because every time we resample it, we don't care about what the length is of the curve. We just resample it anyway. So as the curve gets longer, the resample makes the points become farther apart. So when we do the set spline type to Bezier and handle type to auto, it's interpolating between the points. That's where we get these these squiggly wigglies. Oh, that looks so cool when it's wrapping around like that. Oh, look what's going back on back here. Oh, look, that was smooth. Super cool. Okay. Okay, this is too much noise, so I think we could remedy that with the scale. Yeah. Okay, so it's still... It's still going out too far, I think. Yeah, but let's add, let's do this. Curve to mesh. Nice. And then we can take this. No, we can't. I'm kidding. We can't do that. Can we? Can we add the wireframe before, do you think? And then just join it at the end. Oh, we can. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So, okay, let's add a material. Is that a... I don't know if that's a compliment or a slight. Neato. Then we can add another material to this one. Material 002. Some sort of minty thing. Harry Suzanne. I'm gonna decrease this one a bit more. Maybe even to 16. Remove a lot of detail. Okay, cool. So, but there's one thing I really don't like about this, and that's the fact that if we remove the wireframe monkey, we don't really see what it is. That's because everything is going way too far out. So I'm thinking, let's do something about that too. So we essentially get like a break. Maybe not exactly at the edges, but like in an area around it or something. Maybe that could work. I think I'm gonna increase the scale on this and run it again. Okay, so yeah, a higher scale in the noise texture looks better for this, it seems. 3 maybe? 3 is too much. 0.5. Yeah, that's not bad. Increase the density on this one as well. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, okay. Because with this, we could probably make like a everything with a distance greater than, or maybe even a raycast. Maybe even both. Like both a raycast and a proximity thing. So we have like a cutoff like this. B. Yeah. So the way we do that would be... Okay, let's do the... Yeah, let's do the proximity first, because that's easier. So we do it before here. No, we do it after this. No, wait. Or do we? Do we do it before or after? Because what I want to do is I want to remove all the points that are far enough away from the surface. But the thing is, if some of the points of that curve curl back into the mesh, like within the range again, they will still be connected with the last point we had, so they will get like a long line between them. So that will kind of defeat the purpose. So we need to convert it to a mesh first, then delete, and then return it back to a curve, and then do all of this to a mesh again. And I only know that because I've worked a lot with converting curves to mesh and back and forth. And it's a problem that you encounter pretty often. So you need to do the curve to mesh, then mesh to curve, and then again curve to mesh to properly delete points. Yeah, let's try before. So curve to mesh. So, and then mesh to curve. So in between here we do the deletion, because here it's a mesh and then it's a curve again. And if we delete it while it's a mesh, then any points that get disconnected are considered their own splines after that. Yeah, so delete geometry. I'm gonna turn off the curve to mesh over here. And yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna use the original mesh. I'm thinking a proximity thing might work well. So we take the proximity of the original mesh, and if the distance, which we get from the distance output, we compare that. So if it's greater than some value, we delete it with this. Like so. And I'm not seeing any like rogue connections, which is good, which means it worked. I think we'll see some if we remove this. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, like here. So this, these ones here is a result of some point. I'm saying that's I'm not sure. Let's check just to make sure. Yeah. So those are a result of some points around here. Yeah. So some points around here are connected still. So I'm guessing these ones that goes out here and then back. So these points gets deleted. But if it's still a curve when they get deleted, then it's essentially like dissolving. You're not really deleting if it's a curve. You're dissolving the vertices or the control points, which means that everything between just connect with the next in line. That's why I needed this curve to mesh, mesh to curve combo. And in between feeling the need to shave, yeah. Yeah, very hairy. Okay, so we can get something like that. I think it looks best when it's even thinner. Yeah, like that. So we can now we can control with this, though it's really heavy since it's all mesh. So let's do it without. So we can have it just exactly on the surface. But yeah, I don't know. I think it looks too uniform like this. So I think we need to add the raycast thing as well. Because I think we're missing a bunch of stuff in the middle as well. Yeah. So we lose all the fill, which we don't want. So we need to combine this proximity thing and also a raycast so that it only deletes things that are outside of the mesh and also at a greater distance than whatever we put here. So we need to do a separate check with the raycast. And it should be, no, it shouldn't be that. It should be this is the target geometry. Because we want to use the original mesh to cast rays from. And if we hit the target geometry, that's when we do something. And we want to use the normal. If we use the normal of the original mesh as the ray direction, then we will get rays cast out according to where the face is pointing, essentially. Yeah, so this should be enough, I think. Oh, right. That doesn't work. Because the raycast needs faces to cast onto, I just realized. That's unfortunate. So raycast is a no-go. Maybe we can do like a dot product or something. So like if we take, I'm so bad at this. I think the dot product is if you take two vectors and if they're, what is it? No, maybe that won't work. No, that probably won't work. Now that I think about it. Will it work with the normals? I'm just gonna try it. I have no idea if it works. Let's see. Vector math. I think it's the dot product. Maybe it's the reflect. Let's try it. Let's see what we get. So I'm using the viewer here to see what the value will become. That's what I thought, at least. Let's try it. Position. And we want... I think we need to capture these. So I'm capturing point, I'm capturing a vector. So I'm capturing the position of this with the positions of the faces on this. And we do the dot product thing. I have no idea if this will work. Check the viewer. Everything is -0. That's not a good sign. +0. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe it's because we can't use it here. Okay, okay. That's fine. We can capture it from somewhere else. We can capture it from here. Like so, and then drag it over here. Viewer still 0. Damn it. Cannot be used without the... Okay. That's unfortunate. Oh, but we can use it. I'm so confused. This one is connected correctly. This is correct. Why am I not getting the viewer? There it is. Nope, everything is 0. That means it doesn't work. It's a shame. Maybe if I compare... Maybe I can do like a fake raycast. Like a hack in a raycast or something. So instead of actually raycasting, we can just take... Maybe not. That won't work. I was thinking maybe we could take the distance from the center or something. But that would just give me a... basically a sphere. And it wouldn't really work. Anyway. Damn it. I was really hoping that would work. Maybe it adds enough to make it look good. I guess I'll just try it anyway. Why not? Yeah, let's try it. Slightly different approach. Vector math. We take the distance from this and from the origin point, and then we do the same with the face positions, and then we take a compare node, and if this distance here is greater than this distance, meaning that it's outside of the face, we remove it. Guess not. Nope, didn't work. Indeed. Can we sample something? That's the question. Sample nearest surface, maybe. Maybe that will work. Sample the position of nearest surface. Possibly. Try it with that instead. So that should give like a better. Maybe that works. Let's see. Let's do the compare thing again. Yeah. That worked. Somewhat. It's not perfect. It's pretty close. Yeah, it's using a Susanna. It's using a Susanna, that's why. That would have been a really cool coincidence, right? I just found the exact noise. The exact noise value to create the current noise Susanna. That would be awesome. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. Because now we get all the points that are inside still. It seems. Oh yeah, sorry. I added a Susanna inside. I started with a plane. Then I added a Susanna inside instead. Or replaced it in the edit mode. Okay, because now we have this. So if you combine this one with the original thing we did, which adds like this, I guess radius or area. So we want this, but we also want this. So Boolean math to the rescue. So if it is this and also this, then we delete it, I think. Yeah, these vector operations are really heavy. These distance calculations, so not the best place to use it, probably. But whatever. That's the simulation done. So now we should be able to, yeah. So now we have the internal density still, which we didn't have before, and also the radius or the area outside. And I'm thinking I should probably add, instead of using a standard value for this, I'm gonna use a random value to add some randomness, because it still looks way too uniform, I think. Let's say from 0 to 0.5 maybe. Just gonna let it run until it's done. HC, what's up? You're looking at some experiments with the simulation nodes in Blender 3.5. And we just made this setup which creates curl noise. And now we're doing some extra stuff to remove like stuff that is outside. Maybe keep this at like 1 anyway. Or Something like that. I don't want to lose too much shape. 0.5 is probably good then. So once we have this, one thing we should keep in mind is that since we do the resampling afterwards, all of these tiny tiny splines are also resampled to 16. So I'm thinking we do another removal after this curve thing. So we don't want all these tiny stuff. So let's do delete. But instead of point, we do spline. And take the length, spline length, and compare node. This is also one of those standard things that you do all the time. So if the spline length is less than some value, we delete it. So let's say something like this maybe. So we don't have a bunch of tiny splines everywhere. Let's see, how much did we remove? So at this point we're at 63,000 control points, and without the deletion we are at 286,000 spline control points. So yeah, pretty important optimization if you ask me. Yeah, I'm glad we did that. And let's add a mesh. Awesome. So this is looking kind of like the curling curves thing I did. But this is using actual curl noise. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Then I'm gonna be cheeky and increase this to 0.25, remove even more, and let's do another simulation. Let's increase this to like, I don't know, 10. And watch my PC cry. Biggest issue was a rendering animation of curls growing. Did you manage how to do it? With simulations? Or do you mean like the old way I did it? Just gonna let it run to 128. Glorious 2 FPS. There we go. Okay, let's add the mesh. And there we go. In cycles, it renders only the first frame. Really? Just in cycles, or? Let's see, I'm gonna take all of this here, all the curve deletions, and group it, Control G. Like so. Then I'm gonna call it delete what should I call it? Naming conventions are so hard. Delete the points outside of mesh, I guess. That's fine. I'm just grouping it so I can mute it whenever I want. Easily. So I have this, I can just mute it and get the entire thing, which looks pretty cool. It's only Zygus. I haven't tried rendering anything, to be honest. This is the first time I'm doing anything with Sims. But that sounds strange, that you can't render multiple frames in cycles. Oops. I think Blender... Oh no, okay, we're back. It's fine. Let's see. I'm gonna decrease this again, because it's way too much. Then I'm gonna see if there's anything that needs to be cleaned. Stuff. Then I would forget. Abbreviate it and then forget what it is. Yeah, that's standard practice. So you mean I can't render this frame? Is that what you're saying? Or is it just with the animation? Let's try it. Let's render out like 3 frames then. Maybe I should add a light source also, so you can actually see anything. Really, really obsessed with this wireframe, aren't you? Okay, so I'm gonna render 3 frames, see what happens. Seems to be working fine. Seems to be working. Maybe you're talking about something else. I just realized that you have the Evangelion Nerve logo. Nice. Very nice. Wireframe is back. In the very first betas there were okay. Yeah, this build is from November 24th, I think. I have it linked in the description if you want to check it out. Maybe it's a newer one. Eye worms. It's a thick frame. And I think it's better also if we smooth out Suzanne a bit. Like so. Maybe just use the same material, I guess. Voila. Yeah, it turns out it was actually fairly easy to talk about the bad hair day. Yeah, when it's growing out of your eyes, it's kind of bad. That's not a good sign. Yeah, this looks like a mess now, but let's check the first one. Looks kind of okay also with just the points on the surface, it seems. That's a cool look. But yeah, essentially this is the basic setup. This over here is just turning it into a mesh. To mesh. And this part here is just the simulation. So this is the important part. In case you're interested. Screenshot or whatever you want. You want to save it as a reference. And this is essentially the standardized way to maybe I should subgroup these. Smooth curves. Nope, not that. So this is the standardized way to smooth curves, essentially. At least the way I do it. I guess you could do some pretty cool stuff now with the blur attribute node. I haven't tried it out yet though. And this is just a standardized way to make a curve into a mesh where you control the thickness and shape of it with this float curve node. Also something you do all the time. Am I going to save the stream? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've set it to autosave. So as soon as I end, it should be available on my channel like right away. Maybe not right away. I think there's like a short period before it's processed and everything. You know, they need to check for copyright stuff and everything, usually. That's probably why. But yeah. This is essentially all there is to it, I think. So let's run it again. I'm gonna crank this up to like 1000. Oh, interesting stuff happening over here. Now this is eldritch horror, or if anything. Curved mesh. Oh, sick. I just really like the abstract look. Super cool. Yeah, there's so much detail. Like, yeah. You wouldn't be able to replicate this very easily by hand, even if you tried. Like, you get all these cool spirals everywhere. This. Now, I'm sure this will look really cool if we add some depth of field. Let's crank this up to like 250. Get in real close. Let's find a good angle. With lots of cool stuff happening. Ooh, something like that maybe. Oh, I can already see like a really awesome animation with this. Like emerging out from a forest almost. But yeah, let's add some depth of field. So let's focus on... oh, did Bender... No, okay. Let's have the focus like... Start here. Let's see what happens. Field. You know, when you're in doubt what to do, just add depth of field. It looks really cool always. Make it really intense, like 0.5. Okay, so where would be a good way to have it, or a good place? I'm kind of digging having it like on this one as the focal point. A lot of desktop material background material here, yeah, for sure. Even like this would be cool. Pretty heavy to render though, it seems. I'm sure the depth of field doesn't help either. Try again. Synchronizing object. That doesn't sound promising. Wait, have I enabled pretty cool, pretty nice. Yeah, the depth of field here really helps. Wish there were more in the background though. Maybe I can change that. Add some more. Nope, there's not good there. Guess we picked a really bad spot for this. Any other places that looks good? No. Okay, let's do it like this then. Let's hope this works without crashing my PC. Okay, so don't copy it, don't duplicate it. That's a bad idea. Ouch. Less samples? Yeah, maybe. Oh. It was just there. So the file is dangerously heavy to open right now. So let's turn off this. Less samples. I think it should be enough just to... Wow, this is really heavy. Was it too high? Is that because of that one? I could decrease the samples. They're already pretty low. I think they're at 32, yeah. But we could do the compositing trick where we kind of mix between a denoised render and the raw render, kind of bring in some of the original noise. Can I cache this? There we go. I'm just gonna check real quick. It is optics, okay. But yeah, let's do that. Let's see how that looks. So we enable the noising data. Sure if we need it. Yeah, let's try that. Am I saving the live? Yeah, that's the plan. I think I have it set to autosave. I hope so, at least. But it should be available pretty shortly after I end, I think. Maybe I can see it here real quick. No, I think it should be saved, yeah. So this is the rendered frame. So we can do a neat little compositing trick. To add in the noise again. Because we have the noisy image like this. And the denoised image here. So we can use a mix node. We take those two images, and then we can control how much of the noise should be left with the mix. Who's fighting for life? Yeah. It didn't like the simulated curl noise at all. So yeah, this is a nice trick. I like this. Depending on how much noise there is, you can change this value, but 0.5 is pretty nice. And this is the denoised result, and this is the composited noise. And yeah, I think it looks a lot better. I don't like when all the noise is gone. You need some noise to make it look nice. If you ask me. Yeah, so I think I'll end it there then. Feel like we achieved what we wanted to do. Try out the sim nodes. Did noise took away too much? Yeah, it usually does. That's also one of those things that can ruin the realism when the picture is completely denoised and just completely smooth. You need that that little bit of what's it called? Not noise. Well, it is noise, but the artifacts, I guess. It usually looks really good. You can see especially like in these areas where there's a bit of shadow. It looks so much better with another render. No, I don't feel like putting my poor GPU through anything more for now. Sorry. You're free to use the setup, this curl noise volume setup. Just add a wireframe modifier before the geometry nodes. I can do one thing for you though. I can do a fake render. I'm gonna see what it looks like. I hope it doesn't crash now. It probably will. Yep. Oof. 1 sec. One second. So we need to run this again then. So let's disable that. Use the curl noise volume. Wireframe. Geometry nodes. Am I auto saving? No, I just have a habit of saving constantly. Can't help it. It's not running. Why is it not running? There it is. Go to mesh. Let's up the density a bit. Huh, that's strange. That's interesting. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I was like, why is it visible in one viewport and not the other? That explains everything. Okay. Another camera. That's active. Make it orthographic. Zoom out a bit. Okay. And there it is. Pretty spooky. Kind of reminds me of Majora's Mask, in a way. Like the boss fight. Alright, I'm gonna call it there. I think this was really fun, for me at least. Blackness to wireframe? All these demands, I swear. I swear. Huh. That's weird. That shouldn't affect. I'm confused. Okay, there it is, I guess. There it is. Black wireframe with white curl noise. Much better, yeah, sure. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I like the subtle Suzanne wireframe inside. Yeah, cool. Then thanks for watching and thanks for hanging out. But this was really interesting, really fun to experiment with. And I'm really happy that it wasn't more complicated than it was. So once again, I'm gonna switch over to the other one. Which is less cluttered. There it is, okay. So these are the sim nodes. One last, one last look at the sim notes, in case anyone want to screen grab or something. But yeah, until next time, have a nice weekend and see you around. Peace.